Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. What I've got for you today is the preview video going into double game week 33. Probably the biggest double game week of the season, so there's loads to talk about. I'm going to start with a review of how my team did in game week 32. Then I'm going to talk team selection, transfer advice, and captaincy options moving forward, which hopefully will help you out with your own thoughts for your own team as well. If it does and you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, like the video. I am trying to get to 350 subscribers by the end of the season, which for a small channel trying to grow would be a really cool milestone. So if you can help with that, it would be appreciated. And I am really grateful for all the support I've had on the channel so far. Let's take a look at how the team did in game week 32. And in defence, it wasn't amazing. No points really to be had. Munoz with a -1 as well. Didn't really affect my overall rank at all because he's so highly owned and so many people around my rank also owned him. We all didn't benefit. We all lost out from his -1. So whilst it's not good for my overall score, my actual difference in rank isn't affected that much. Where it was affected was because I had Murillo on the bench, I wasn't going to get his clean sheet points. And ironically, his mistake for Nottingham Forest meant they didn't keep a clean sheet at all, which meant any FPL managers who had Forest defenders lost out, and that would have affected my overall rank because they would have gotten points that I just couldn't get. They were going to be stuck on my bench. So it is funny how sometimes it works out like that. So I guess I am thankful to Murillo in a strange way for his mistake and therefore my increase in rank in FPL. So in midfield, Jacob Murphy continues to smash it. 19 points, more returns in this week. What a fantastic asset in FPL. For 5.2, 5.3 million, he still is. I still think he remains a good option for the rest of the season. Newcastle play in game week 34, and I'm not going to be using my free hit that game week, so I'm definitely going to keep him in my squad. And I know a lot of managers are thinking of moving him on. I would just be aware that the grass isn't always greener with some double game week players just because they've got an extra fixture, as we saw with Crystal Palace this week. Salah got his assist, which is great. I'm definitely going to keep hold of Salah. Leicester away is probably one of the best fixtures you can ever have in FPL at the moment. And Saka and Elanga came off the bench for 1 point each. I'm not disappointed with Saka's minutes. I'm definitely not surprised he was on the bench. I knew he would be. I just thought the upside might be there and he might do a little bit more in those minutes. So if he continues to be on the bench, that's fine. It was more of just a safety net pick anyway, but I think with the double coming up, he is likely to start at least one of those games, and we'll talk about him as a captaincy option a bit more in a bit. But up front, Isak got 22 points. I captained him. I think if you triple captained Isak, you're a little disappointed. The fact that he didn't get more returns. He got a goal and an assist, which is definitely not anything to complain about. But if you're using your triple captain, and if you'd have been told that Newcastle would score 9 goals in 2 games before the game week, you'd be like rubbing your hands together thinking there's going to be so many Isak returns, and it just didn't happen. He definitely had chances. Henderson made some great saves, but just because it didn't maximise the points doesn't mean that it was a bad decision to use your triple captain on him. It was definitely the right call, and it could have been huge returns. It's just unfortunate how it goes sometimes, but in FPL history, there's definitely been worse triple captainers, that people have used their chips on. So I wouldn't be too disappointed if I've triple captained Isak. I'd just take the points and move on. And you might be looking at my overall score thinking, how on earth did you get 85 points? Well, it's because I had my assistant manager on Eddie Howe, and that is an amazing start to the assistant manager chip. 23 points in a double game week with no table bonus. I will take that all the time. So I've got him for the next 2 weeks. So I've got my chip active for the next 2 weeks, which means I can't free hit in game week 33 or 34. And therefore, these manager points, they count even more to counteract those other FPL managers who have their chips active. So I was always going to go for Eddie Howe over Glasner. I think it's easy to look back now and sort of criticise selecting Crystal Palace players or manager, but at the time, double game weeks, they do give you those more point scoring opportunities. I just didn't feel like going for Glasner because whilst he had 2 table bonus games, table bonus only really counts if they get a result in those matches, and I just didn't think they would, and I definitely don't regret not going for him now. It's a 21-point swing in manager points. So a green arrow of 100k again, so that's 200k green arrows in the last 2 weeks, so an overall rank of 200k recently. And I think it just goes to show that even if your FPL season is not going how you want it to, things can change pretty quick. Like the rankings between managers is so small still that if you feel like your season's done or you're just not enjoying FPL, I can assure you that it isn't. Things can change so quickly, and there's loads of chips in play. There's doubles, there's blanks. You can get that rank rise. Just take stock of where you are right now, and then treat the rest of this season like a little mini season. Maybe take some risks, maybe make some brave decisions, maybe plan ahead of a different strategy for next season, and just see how you get on and just enjoy it. It's a game, so things can definitely change quickly, and I wouldn't be giving up in FPL just yet if it's not gone your way so far. So let's take a look at the fixtures for this game week, and there's so many I can barely fit them on the screen. In terms of captaincy, I actually quite like Mo Salah away at Leicester. I think you compare him to some double game week players, and I would much rather have Salah than shoehorn in a Villa player or another Crystal Palace player at this stage. You think about captaining someone like Saka, and Saka is a good option for captaincy, but you have to go in with your eyes open. Like, he's not going to start both games, and even if he did, he's not going to get 90 minutes in both. So don't be disappointed if you captain him and then he just doesn't get the minutes you're hoping for. Realistically, from Saka, you're looking at maybe a start and a coming off the bench. Maybe he gets 60 minutes and then he gets 30 minutes, or 2 starts and he gets 60 minutes both times. So that is between 90 and 120 minutes captaincy. Well, if he's getting that time and Salah's going to get 90 minutes against Leicester City, I don't think there's that much difference between captaincy options there. Granted, Saka could absolutely return in those minutes, but so could Salah. So I think if you're going for upside, Salah would be a real differential captaincy option this game week. So would Saka, but we know that Salah's definitely going to play 90 minutes, maybe 80, 90 minutes, right? Another option would be Marmoush from Man City. Now, he does give you more minute security across 2 games. He doesn't get a clean sheet point like midfielders do, and he gets a point less per goal than midfielders. But I think he's the best captaincy option this game week. And then actually it's quite close between Salah and Saka. So don't discount those single game weekers. I think in any other game week, Salah would be 100% captained if this was a single game week. And just be aware, like Crystal Palace, this game week with Man City and Newcastle, just because they have 2 fixtures, well, if they're 2 bad fixtures, is there that much benefit to be gained rather than if they had just 1 bad fixture, or if someone has a great single game week fixture? And I would just be aware of that when considering Palace and Villa options this game week. So in terms of my team for this game week, it's looking pretty good. I've got 6 doublers, which isn't the most. I know a lot of people are, going in for 9, 10 double game week players, but as I've just spoken about, I don't mind not having Villa players. I think the rotation is not ideal. I also think they've just lost the Champions League, which will have taken a lot out of them, like emotionally, physically. And they've also got the FA Cup semi-final coming up the following weekend. So there's a lot that are in Villa players' minds right now, combined with that minutes rotation. I think if you've got them, you keep hold of them. But I wouldn't be taking a points hit or taking out good players to get in those Villa players. And the same with Crystal Palace. I don't need a third Crystal Palace player. Like I said earlier, I'm not free hitting in 34 because of my assistant manager chip being active. So I don't want to take those risks to try and get in more players this game week. I'd rather just see it as a 2-week mini season. I also have players that play Aston Villa as a single game week. People are talking about swapping Isak out. I'd keep hold of Isak, to be honest. I wouldn't force it. I think it's a bit different if you're on a free hit. But in terms of a free transfer, because they play in 34, I'm absolutely fine to keep hold of them. And the same for like Elanga with Tottenham away. That's a good fixture. And I'll probably start Elanga over Mitoma if Mitoma still looks like he is injured. So lots of double game weekers there, but the upside maybe isn't there, which is why I'm moving to Arteta for assistant manager. Now, Ipswich away and Crystal Palace at home, I think they are good fixtures. Hopefully he could get, 3-0 away at Ipswich, 2-0 at home to Palace, and get close to another 20 points. I think that would be really good. I think another thing to note as well with Crystal Palace is there is certain rotation risk because they play midweek and then they have the FA Cup semi-final the following weekend, a few days away, that there is talk about them potentially rotating against Arsenal. I think Munoz's minutes would be safe, but Mateta is someone that I would be aware of. If you don't own him right now, I would stay away, I think, from buying him in. And maybe that does increase Saka's chances as captain as well, because having a weakened Crystal Palace team at home and then Ipswich away, if we knew that he was going to start, he'd be head and shoulders the best captaincy option this week. But because we don't know that, I think it does bring other captainers into play. So let me know what you think about my team. Let me know if you've got any questions about your own team or what your rank is. Have you got any chips active? What rank do you want to try and get? And yeah, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you've had a good game week, and I will see you in the next one.